it's just like, for example, for like in this conversation, right? When Yara says for me, right? It's like at that point, because I could just turn around and be like, well, for me, that's bullshit. And now we don't have anywhere else to go in terms of the conversation, because if it's centered in, I'm just saying this personal thing that I believe, you can believe that all you want. But if I'm saying that for me, none of that shit is true, right? Then now we're at a stalemate, because we don't have any objective measure for us to determine whether or not, like whose
Uh,
statement
But
is considered.
but watch this though. But watch
exactly,
this
though,
though.
Mo.
Here's the truth of the matter. Who is making the claim that God exists in the first place? The theists are
I know.
making.
I could. Yeah.
The theists are making a claim, so it's incumbent upon them to buttress and bring evidence for their claim. And if they can't bring evidence for that claim, then of course us as atheists are going to sit back and say, no, you don't have any evidence. So that's why when Yara said he would debate on the ontological properties and all that, and when I had that debate with Cedric, that's the perfect debate to have, because now he's going to actually have to bring evidence to show these ontological properties, or he will try to use the ontological argument, which has been failing for 100 years. He's gonna have to deal with that. So that's kind of
Failing
what
is
I'm
not
getting at.
disproven. You can't disprove it. That's just the fact, and you know it, Q.
That's illogical. I don't have to disprove anything.
Listen, I didn't add. Whether you call it illogical or not does not disprove it.
I don't have
because
to
your debate is prove God exists.
Yes.
You can't disprove it. It doesn't matter if you disagree.
I don't have to disprove.
It doesn't matter if you agree or disagree. You can't disprove it.
Your evidence is going to do the talking for you. Either you have or you don't. I don't have to do shit. You're making the claim.
This is the art. See, this is the stupidity in the conscious community.
No, he was being facetious when he said he doesn't have to do anything.
No, he's not.
No, he was. Listen.
No, he's not.
Listen.
Ask him again.
No, listen. As an atheist,
ask him again directly. He's right there next to you.
Listen.
Ask him again.
Because you know why?
Because these pseudo. That's what these pseudo killers stand on.
Listen.
That's the basis of their whole stupid argument.
Okay, so I was muted. So peace, everybody. Peace, 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 peace. Let me play a little bit of this and then I'll talk. I was muted. I was talking though. Hold on.
When you hold a stance, you have to give you have to show why you have that stance. So that's what he's going to bring forth in a debate, is why he holds on to this particular stance. You can't just come into a debate and say, well, I don't believe. Well, I just don't believe. I just don't believe. No, you have to give reason on why you don't stand.
You would do that. You would do that.
You're trying to run already.
He's not going to do that.
He will do that.
Ain't nobody trying to run from nothing. I'm here for it. I'm here for it all.
You're engaging with a lot.
I'm here for it all, son. I'm here for it all.
Let me ask you, Cedric. Let me ask you, Cedric. Do you understand and recognize that if you hold a stance, you have to give reasons why you hold that particular stance?
Exactly, of course. How is it a debate?
We're talking about a belief and a conceptualization. And then if you'd like, a person can definitely give their reasons of why they hold that stance. The problem is that these believers, the atheists who believe God doesn't exist, they want the theist to validate God for them. And that's something that no one can do. That's something that will come from them in their lives. in their conceptualization, in their consciousness. And so, as I said before, these theists are believers just as, these atheists, are believers just like theists. And what we're hearing is them, again, begging theists to prove God. There is some information that I and other theists can present, but no matter what you present to an atheist, they will reject it because that's how they conceptualize God, that God does not exist. You get it? It's their belief system. It's a part of their belief system. So they crave and they beg for you to validate God and show proof of God, just so they can continue to reject whatever you offer to solidify their position in their belief system. They want us to feed into their schema of God so they can reject God and therefore validate their atheism.
If both people aren't arguing. However, his position of this group is showing his illogical and his irrationality. You have the burden of proof. I do not have a burden of disproof. However,
I only have to prove that God exists to me.
Oh, no, you don't.
You.
Yes,
that's exactly correct.
No, you
that's
don't.
The art. Listen, he cannot disprove. Listen, he cannot disprove what I call and determine what is a deity.
Listen,
he can't do it.
Yara, if we accepted evidence that God existed to you, you know what the evidence would be? It would be you saying that God exists. That would be the evidence. But
absolutely. That's it though. That's it though.
But listen, bro.
That's what theists don't get about the true ontological argument. You cannot disprove that God does not exist to me.
Exactly. And therefore,
therefore, as your interlocutor, you cannot prove God does not exist to me.
Prove your God exists to me.
I can prove my God exists.
No, you can't.
Yes, if I say my God is the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man,
you cannot prove your God exists to me.
I absolutely can.
No, you can't.
And you better check him, Q. You better check him.
You can't.
You better check him, Q.
You know you can't.
You better check him, Q. If I say my God is the Energizer Bunny,
by your own measure, you can't prove your God to me.
I promise you, I can.
Because it's about your subjective position.
I'm finna ask you a question, Q.
You cannot prove your God.
I'm about to ask you a question, Q. If I say, Q, my God is the Energizer Bunny, can I prove that?
Well,
no, you cannot.
Hush, Cedric. I'm talking to Q.
No, you can't prove it because it's not cogent.
What?
Listen, you're saying, how is it not cogent? If I say I worship the Energizer Bunny,
thank you.
Well,
the pink furry bunny,
yes,
with the batteries in his back, can I prove that?
No, you can't prove it, but your evidence would be you going to.
Oh my God!
Your evidence would be you making an altar to the Energizer Bunny. Your evidence would be you saying that you believe in worship.
Is that not my proof that my God exists?
No, it would be evidence. It wouldn't be proof. It wouldn't be proof. It would be evidence.
Listen to the argument that you're making.
I'm not making an argument, but I'm just responding to
the evidence. Listen,
they actually don't exist.
What constitutes a deity by definition?
You must believe in some concept of
doctrine, dogma, doctrine, dogma,
whatever.
I'm gonna pause this for a second. So let me read Latoya. Peace, everybody. So Latoya says, "Peace, Napa. A real atheist would never argue this or even talk to a theist. The fact that they are arguing is proof that they are believers, just in the opposite direction." Exactly. And you know, that should be sufficient for them. But because they are being exposed as believers, right? It takes away their power their delusion of power that they have over those who see a higher power. And I do want to broaden the definition of atheist. Yes, it's not believing or the belief that God doesn't exist. However, atheists also reject, or they have no belief that there is a supernatural world. Now you see a lot of them starting to acquiesce to admitting that there is a supernatural world, and they are doing so because mainstream science is proving it. So, yeah, I already sent that to you in your email, Genesis. I can send it to you too if you want, Latoya. I'm gonna send it to Latoya Ma'at as well. If you decide, if you don't want to, nobody has to turn their camera on today, but yeah, this is a conversation we're going to have to continue, because I usually don't, again, like people say, I don't like to debate what people believe. So I've never tried to force an atheist to believe in my God, or my conceptual, to subscribe to my conceptualization of God. It's impossible anyway. There's a way to join and resonate with each other and have like minds, not identical, but similar ways of doing things, and that's called a church. However, I've never tried to force them to believe or played that game, prove to me God exists, because I can't. Just as we looked at the experiment, the psychological experiment on consciousness, which I'll show that again, where Mary is in a black and white room. She knows all about the color red. She knows all about it, but she's never actually seen it. And when she finally sees it, it's different than knowing, having all this objective evidence. It's different. You go into something phenomenological. You go into something abstract. You go into something metaphorical. You go into consciousness, right? You get all of that, and it becomes not just cut and dry, black and white, no pun intended, because the experiment was about her being in black and white existence. So let's listen to this a little bit more, and we'll keep this conversation going.
Listen,
by your own metric.
Be quiet, Cedric.
By your own metric, whatever. Listen, man. You are making it subjective. Listen, I'm not saying the Energizer Bunny is your God. If you can just subjectively decide your Energizer Bunny is your God, I can subjectively decide to reject any claim that you make.
You absolutely can.
I think.
Of course, that's Cedric. He's so afraid to. He comes on the channel when either I'm not around or when Ankh is with him. And then he says, "Oh, Napa, I'm ready to debate consciousness with you. Of course I will." But I invited him to that panel yesterday. He could have come. I invited Cube. They decided not to. And Cube is always over on the HOK hitting a panel. So I don't want to hear about, I just couldn't, because they act like they are, that this conversation is easily won. And I'm talking about the fact that a theist legitimately has a real God. And the fact that the theist legitimately has a real God is when you get into the conversation, the philosophical conversation about conceptualization and consciousness. So let me let Genesis in. Peace, Genesis. Hey, I'm just playing some. Yeah, thank you for joining. I'm just going to play a little bit more of them over there talking about this.
Hold on. I think I understand what he's trying to say. Hold on. We got it mixed up, because he's saying something that we actually interpreted a different way. We don't need to prove that the Energizer Bunny exists. What he's saying is, how can you prove that I believe in this thing? Not that this thing that he believes in is actually true. He's saying, how can you prove that I believe in this thing?
Exactly.
Okay, and what I just told you is the way how you can prove that is that you would devise a doctrine. You would come up. You would come up with a religion, a temple. You would show us. You would show us how you religiously either pray or venerate this Energizer Bunny. But what you don't have to do is show us that the God, this Energizer Bunny, actually exists when you ask that particular question.
But that's my point.
And I would say
understand
right,
what I'm saying to you.
But on the contrary, you can prove when, and yeah, you can do all that. Genesis is an Ifa priestess. She can show us all the practices that she goes through. I have a spiritual belief. I follow the Bible. I follow Torah. I could show you the practices. If you're asking me to prove God, and I show you how I practice, I'm showing you through my conceptualization of God, I serve the God that I conceptualize in that way. That actually is, even though they say, oh, it's subjective, but when you get into the conversation of consciousness, it is no longer, you can't just say, well, I dismiss it because it's not objective and I can't see it myself, because the conversation isn't about it. It's like saying, if I can't taste ice cream for Cube, then ice cream must not be real. It really is like saying that. And they say, well, you can see ice cream. Well, how do you know that you can't see God? That goes into all of the phenomenal things that happen, things that we see that happen, like astral projection, spirits manifesting, past life experiences, near-death experiences. So these are things that the believer, the theist, hold as more proof that there is not only there's a spirit realm, and if there's a spirit realm, that validates that their God exists, because theists think their gods, or they conceptualize their God living in that spirit realm or existing in that spirit realm.
You know what also is that there is such thing as a personal relationship with God.
Yes.
Personal. So most everybody that believe, well, hell, there's a personal relationship with everything on this earth. If we both walk into a room, like I said yesterday, we are going to experience that room a different way. You might focus on what color the walls is. One person might focus on how many couches are in the room. Another person might look at the decorations on the tables. The bottom line is that, okay, no one experiences life the same way that others do. And I don't even understand why there's even an argument about God or not. Why is it like such of a point of contention for atheists to where they feel like they have to like really go hard on debating about that?
Yes. And you know what? I'm going to show again what the experiment, but you know why? I don't know if you heard me earlier, because they need to, we have in psychology something called a schema, and we all hold a schema. There's no way to get around it. And your schema, you run everything that you experience in your consciousness, you run it through your schema in your psychology, in your mind. When you do that, now remember, you said, why do they have to always ask us to prove it, and then they have to disprove it, like to show, here's our evidence, and then they just want to reject it? Because it validates their schema, which is that God does not exist. It validates their belief. So that's why they need us to keep feeding. You know how you need, when I say need, in your practice for God, you have different rituals, different things, different interactions that solidify your belief, right? In your God system. They are the same, but their God system is to reject God. So they need to keep hearing people say, well, God made flowers, and oh no, he didn't, because this is let's go into botany. God made my heart beat. Oh, you don't know anything about the electricity in the body. And by the way, they can't tell us why. To this day, science can't tell us why we live, why we have this energy in our body. And I'll hand that over to you, because I would like us to share today. I want to share a little bit more. Peace, Latoya. I'm glad you joined. I want to drag them and stay on their neck. Peace, Latoya.
How are you?
Very good. I'm glad you joined. You always add a lot. And I want to also talk about our actual proof that we have. Maybe some different things if you want to add that. Before you go in Genesis, I did, like I said, I want to let me take this down for a second. I know people want to hear the rest of this conversation, but I do want to just let everybody see who's on the panel. Come on in, weigh in, and then we can get back to I can hand the mic over to Genesis. Come on in and introduce yourself, Latoya.
Hey, yes. I love this conversation. I think it's really good to have. I have found that I put true atheists, because a lot of times people that claim to be atheists just come off seeming like church hurt or religious hurt, versus having a real stance about about the actual issue itself. But even when I'm talking to somebody that is a little bit more level-headed and less all riled up, uh, like I use the example of the pink elephant, I don't have a lot of emotion for it because I don't believe it. For them to have so much emotion wrapped up into something shows that there's something more going on. Right? If you honestly do not believe in something, you kind of just go, okay, and you move on. You really don't do a whole, how are you debating something you don't believe?
Right.
How do you have emotions about what you don't believe?
Right.
So the fact that those emotions are there means you need to really figure out you need to clear up what you really believe.
Thank you.
If that makes any sense.
And Latoya, and this is what Genesis said. Why? That's my take that I gave, because they need to be able to keep feeding their belief. But why do they keep saying, prove it to me, prove it to me? I don't have to prove it. They have a belief just like we do. So thank you for adding that.
I think a lot of times when I hear certain, I'm not going to blame all atheists, certain atheists, but especially any atheist that's debating is crazy to me. If they always seem to come off as they have like this spirit of, they just like to be contrarians. You know what I mean? If most people say this, these same people probably will take the opposite, probably almost of anything. It just seems to be they like feeling, it's almost like they get off on being countercultural or make, like wanting to put themselves in some kind of minority status so that you can look back down on everybody else and say how stupid they are. I don't call them stupid. I don't think they're stupid. I don't put a whole lot of emotion into what they're doing. But you notice a lot of times if you go on any of these channels where atheists are talking about anything, I've seen some that aren't, but the majority of them, the people are very, very condescending, very emotional, and super involved. That's all I'm saying.
100%. And Matt Dillahunty,
that was a mess.
That's all this channel is about, though, is just cutting people off. So thank you for adding that. I want to see Genesis. She wants to weigh in, and then I can get back to playing a little bit more of what's going on Cube's channel. What do you think about what she said? Thank you, Latoya. What do you think about what she said, Genesis?
I mean, I agree 100% with what she said, but I also wanted to bring about the fact that sometimes at the higher educational levels, when you get into college, they begin to insert these ideas of atheism into people's mind. Like, you might have brought your child up to be a whatever religion up until they were in high school. But then when they get into college, that's when they begin to introduce a lot of Darwinian mindset, a lot of like atheistic mindset. And it's interesting that people in their minds feel that because it's almost like a belief system of a more educated person, right? So that's why I feel that they feel like when they are exuding their atheistic beliefs, that they are really coming from a higher level, right? Because this is from an educated standpoint. You need to do the research, right? So it's interesting that they try to feel like people are dumbed down when they believe in God because they went to college and learned about a bunch of different white scholars that rejected God, and then they take on the same exact mindset and want to look down on people that believe in God. I just think that's interesting.
But what about metaphysics? What about Einstein? By the time he was done, like getting older in age, even he said he didn't call it God, but even he said there is something, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's really the higher education, like the real higher. I'm not talking about just you got a 4-year degree, and that's fine. Listen, we need to learn as much as possible. And I don't put all my eggs in, oh, I got a degree. I mean, who cares? But people that are well more studied than anybody named Latoya, Cedric, and Q, they are starting to figure out that, these ancient people were right. There's something going on.
Yes. And yes.
That's what's happening now.
The walls are closing in on them, yes, and that's why they're frantic, and that's why when Matt Dillahunty heard me say my conceptualization is like, oh nope, not this one. She ain't talking, you know what I mean? She's not like, well, God wrote the Bible then down on the
right.
He didn't want to hear that. I do want to point this out, what you're talking about. Einstein did believe in God. But his God, he was more of a deist. So Albert Einstein expressed a belief in, quote, Spinoza's God, which reflects a pantheistic view of divinity as synonymous with the universe and its laws, rather than a personal deity concerned with human affairs. So that's more of that's more like deism, where there's a God outside that doesn't tamper with us. You know that God did the creation and that's, I'm going to pass the mic over to you. Genesis, that's what you were saying about the Oludamare, right? Or no?
What was the question about Oludamare? That he is that Oludamare, not even say he, but it is a being that does not have any dealings with the earthly realm, but deals with creation itself.
Okay, so you see, this is similar. The God that he believes in, or that Einstein was, first off, he was a pantheist. He didn't believe in one God. And it's more of a God that creates the universe. Not only Einstein. Look, I'm glad I brought this up. I mean, actually, you brought it up, Latoya. I'm glad that you brought this up, Latoya, because I love to show these brilliant minds that these atheists accept. They don't want to accept and respect anything that has to do with our people, or anything that has to do with the brilliance of ancient Kemet and ancient math from Kemet and from even the Levant. People argue that Arabs didn't have anything to do with math, but I don't know. That's a different conversation. But they don't want to hear about that ancient world. That was brilliant. They love to always go to Einstein and all of these physicists, you know what I'm saying? The founders of what we know as academic science, right? Well, we have Einstein who believes in God.
Oh yeah. It's not just him.
Right. We have
Max Planck.
Yes, we have Max Planck. Let me grab that quote, but go ahead. Respond to that. I'm gonna get this get my PowerPoint and show the quote from Max Planck. Yeah. So what do they say then? Because they always want to make us like we're inferior in intelligence to them.
Like I said, the issue becomes if they want to just stick to the actual well, you can't prove it. So it's like, it's hard to honestly have this conversation because, like I said, it always ends up conflating itself to, in my opinion, it always ends up being, it's not even really about being a theist or being a theist or the atheist. It's a lot of times I pick up a lot of misogyny, a lot of
it goes hand in hand.
contrarianism.
Talk. Yes, it goes hand in hand. Keep going. I just want to say, yes, you're right. You're on.
It's like, real professional, like I shouldn't say if you're having a debate, have a debate, right? But to be all this hyper emotional about and theists as well. I think it's crazy when theists get over if you really believe something, what are you on the battlefield? Like, are you on, what are you doing? Because it's like your emotions and your level of frustration is showing that you personally probably need to step out of the debate and work on what you really believe. Because if you really have a belief about something, we can discuss and have different ideas in part, and there not be an argument or even a raised voice.
Right.
Personally, but by the time emotion gets involved, now what we're doing is we're having this egotistical battle that has really nothing to do with anybody's belief in God or not belief in God. But
Thank you. Genesis, I asked you to are you still there? I don't know. You might be muted.
Yeah, I'm here.
I had asked you previously to give us some information, especially if you could start where the tech guy, we didn't really go into that with the binary code. Can you again tell that story? I know you did on another stream, and show now what we're doing is we're not just focusing on the worship of a God that they reject. We're going to also focus on they reject the entire spirit realm, anything that has to do with the afterlife. They reject that as atheists. So could you talk to us a little bit about how but then they readily accept and wholeheartedly and happily accept anything that comes from academic science, anything that is tangible and objective and can be proven. So can you talk to the audience about that situation? It was very interesting where the guy
so there is an author named Ron English, and he got like a $7 million, I don't know if I got the right number, endowment to go into Africa and study African fractals. And what African fractals are is pretty much, if you know what a fractal is that it's almost like a thing where you create something and then you zoom into it. It gets smaller and smaller. It's just like a repetitive cycle of things, almost like how a snail's.
It's like the Fibonacci sequence.
Right. So it's just like it starts small, it gets bigger, it gets bigger, it gets bigger, and
golden ratio in a sense.
Yes. So he discussed the whole aspect of African fractals, and so in this situation he was discussing African fractals, and he really discussed it how he discussed how this actually led to the binary code based on he was led into binary code. So let's go with it.
So I tracked down one of the folks who makes these things, this guy in Mali, just outside of Bamako. And I asked him, how come you're making fractal fences? Because nobody else is. And his answer was very interesting. He said, well, if I lived in the jungle, I would only use the long rows of straw because they're very quick and they're very cheap. Doesn't take much time, doesn't take much straw. He said, but wind and dust goes through pretty easily. Now, the tight rows up at the very top, they really hold out the wind and dust. But it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of straw because they're really, really tight. Now, he said, we know from experience that the farther up from the ground you go, the stronger the wind blows, right? It's just like a cost-benefit analysis.
Okay, so can you pause it for a second?
Out the lengths of straw, put it on a log plot, got the scaling exponent.
Yeah. So just, tell us, he's showing us what? The scientific the science that he broke down, but it was something that's an ancient spiritual practice. Can you talk about
what
that?
It is basically so these fractals are how they build their communities. They build their fences. They build their houses. So they talked about So if you were to look at a house, it was built based on a fractal. If you look at the community, it's based on a fractal. If you even go down into how they build their fences, it's based on fractals. Okay, and then what he found out from there is he ended up finding something else out, and I wanted to show you how that further developed. Let's go.
And it almost exactly matches the scaling exponent for the relationship between wind speed and height in the Wind Engineering Handbook. So these guys are right on target for a practical use of scaling technology. The most complex example of an algorithmic approach to fractals that I found was actually not in geometry. It was in a symbolic code. And this was Bamana sand divination. And the same divination system is found all over Africa.
So the divination system is the actual divination system, like E5, that people use to figure out what's going to happen in the future. So they would go to a Babalawo, and that Babalawo would give them a reading, and based on a certain Odu that would come out, they'd be able to tell them what's going to happen, right? Okay, or what they're dealing with in the present moment, future, past, whatever. And so, and it's based on this is a 256 major Odu, 16 major Odu, 256 minor Odu, and there's like thousands and thousands of, or like I would say almost like hundreds of thousands, like different like Odu stories that go with each Odu. So the bottom line is that in these Odu are how things come into existence, right? And each Odu will tell you how things manifest, right? And so what he did was that he actually, when he was studying the fractals, he actually went to a priest and got a divination done.
Wait. Before you go further, this is so interesting, but I want to just really drive it home and let everybody know who's maybe confused, because it took me a minute. Bamana sand divination is them contacting the spirit realm, correct?
Yes, it is. What it is the Akashic record. So, or that's what, if I were to put it into a word of what people would probably know what it is the Akashic record. It is the record of human existence, but it's based on, there's a number, and it goes into a database, it gets the information, and then it gives you an answer. So it's almost like, so if you get like a 1 2 1 2, that goes into that means this story. If it's 2 2 2 2, that's this story. So it's basically like a database almost.
So they are literally, the priest is, and it's such a sacred private practice, and she'll go into that, but the priest is tapping into all of your past lives, checking information that could only be contacted, right? Through God, basically God or the spirit realm, right?
Well, it's a record. It is the word of God, the word of God. So
the word of God
is the word. Is the Odu is the word of God. So therefore, versus a Bible where you would just read it all the way through, there is an oral tradition, and only the priests that know those stories and those songs. It is really all the Odu are based on a song pattern. So the sonic patterns it's very deep. So and only like the Babalaos really know. It takes some years to like learn all. No Babalao knows all the Odu. Okay, that's why they have books and stuff like that. If you actually go to a Babalao, you get a reading, you're going to see them like kind of opening up books, different books to like, actually, okay, when this sign comes out, they look up all these books and stuff like that. They know some of the signs, but then there's more in-depth information, and then they tell you exactly what that Odu means. That's how intricate it is. It's a very intricate practice. So,
okay, before you started, I want to go ahead, finish your statement. I just want to see
what he did was that, like I said, he went to Africa. He was studying African fractals as far as how they build their communities, their buildings, their fences, their crops, everything. And of course, if you're going to be in an African town, you're going to end up seeing the priest of that town, and those priests were practicing this divination system. And then he found out that there's also a level of fractal in this. So let's go.
Okay, wait. Before, I just want to see if the sister, do you want to make a comment before we start it up again? Thank you for explaining that, Genesis. Latoya, did you want to weigh in before we start the video?
Sure. Real quick. The only thing that I would have to say is there's something, okay? Every culture in every part of the world has their ways, or seems to find their ways of going inward and and contacting or coming up with, or whatever we do, right? However we do it, or whatever we believe. And for somebody not to be able to recognize that, or think that all of that's just made up, I think that's just kind of, it's real sophomoric to think that anybody with any real wisdom that anybody would consider wise would tell you they don't know it all. And the problem with atheism is to say that, and sometimes theists are this way too. We don't know, and we teach as if we know the whole and the totality, and none of us do on either side.
Thank you. I agree.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
The thing is that watch where you find out what this actually leads to. See,
this is amazing. Yes, because they keep asking us for proof. Prove God. Prove God. In the context of going back and forth with somebody who's just gonna, I don't want to toss my pearls to the swine, so to speak. But for the people like Latoya and everybody here, I call darkest minds of light, interested people. This is undeniably proof that there is a God. So go ahead. Thank you. Go ahead.
You can find on the East Coast as well as the West Coast, and often the symbols are very well preserved. So each of these symbols has 4 bits. It's very well preserved. So each.
I want you to hear this part, because divination is throughout Africa. So I want to be clear that this is not just a part of just only West Africa, and this is something that is throughout Africa.
I found was actually not in geometry; it was in a symbolic code.
And this was Asia and South America,
and the same divination system is found.
Right. You have the I Ching and different, exactly.
All over Africa. You can find on the East Coast as well as the West Coast, and often the symbols are very well preserved. So each of these symbols has 4 bits. It's a 4-bit binary word. You draw these lines in the sand randomly. And then you count off, and if it's an odd number, you put down 1 stroke, and if it's an even number, you put down 2 stroke. And they did this very rapidly, and I couldn't understand where they were getting. They only did the randomness 4 times. I couldn't understand where they were getting the other 12 symbols, and they wouldn't tell me. They said, no, I can't tell you about this. I said, well, look, I'll pay you. You can be my teacher, and I'll come each day and pay you. I said, it's not a matter of money. This is a religious matter. And finally,
it's not a matter of money. It's a religious matter. Now, he's coming in there from a mathematical standpoint, being a scientist, being a researcher. He's like, listen, I'll give you some money. Just tell me how you do this. They're like, no, you can't pay for this.
And he's on the side that he's not saying he's an atheist, but they hold his words for truth. And they put a lot of faith into the whatever things that he brings forth, right? But look what he's bringing forth, something that is from spirituality. Yes.
Just matter. And finally, out of desperation, I said, well, let me explain George Cantor in 1877. And I started explaining, why I was there in Africa. And they got very excited when they saw the Cantor set. And one of them said, come here, I think I can help you out here. And
so the Cantor set, the Cantor set is George Cantor is, I think he's going to explain. Let's go.
And so he took me through the initiation ritual for a Brahmana priest.
Do you know who he is, or you want me to just quickly Google? You don't have to.
Google him real quick, because I forget what it is right now at the very moment.
Don't take the video down. I'm just going to get it. George Cantor, because George Cantor was a German mathematician. He, the Youth and Studies of George Cantor, born 1845, St. Petersburg, Russian Empire. He was regarded as an outstanding violinist. He basically, what did he do? He was a mathematician who played a pivotal role in the creation of set theory, which has become the fundamental theory in mathematics. See, now we're looking at what they're saying. We want to see academic science. We want to see objective, right? So the branch of mathematical logic that studies sets is a set theory. Remember, she said that he was looking at the fractals and the way that they built their buildings and their communities. So he's fascinated. this particular man, this person, the scientist, the Dr. Ron Eglish, he's fascinated that how could these village, people know anything about such complexities, right? They got it from God. And so that's who George Cantor is. Thank you. I just wanted to explain that because we need to fully cover this. You want to say something before? I just wanted to give that to you guys. Set theory, yes, the set theory.
I see something here where it says Cantor's method of proof of this theorem implies the existence of an infinity of infinities. That's called what? Eternity, everlasting.
Hold on, say that again. You know I'm always.
Cantor's method of proof of this theorem implies the existence of an infinity of infinities. That is what we call God.
That is what we call God.
You know what the truth is, I believe? You know what the proof is? Science, math. That is the proof.
And you know what, Latoya? They don't get it that it
No,
does.
they don't get it.
They think
but see, that's the problem with atheism.
Yes,
because it makes you close your... And now I'm going to play both sides. If you get too religious, you end up closed-minded too. So it can go both ways,
and
right?
You know, 100%. That is what but that's what we as theists say. I mean, we on the panel, we know, we're telling them, you're a believer as well. In fact, you're proselytizing and trying to ram your belief down the throat of people that we see it right here.
Their religion is egoism and secularism.
Bingo, and with a sprinkle of good old misogyny.
And with misogyny, because you got to add that in.
That goes straight across to the theist. You can't. They all have that same ingredient, right? Like, we need to add some misogyny to this to make it right. So
you can't say you don't believe in God, but then when I tell you, would you like to give me how explain intuition? Because now if you finna tell me you don't believe in intuition, then I really know you a nut.
Thank you.
That has to come from somewhere. How is it that people that you don't know end up knowing things about you? Now, if you have not had that experience, just say you don't know. Don't say it doesn't exist. That is a scientific stance.
Thank you so much. And this is great. I'm so glad you're up here, Latoya, to add. And wow, that's the infinite. Read that one more time, and then we'll hand the mic back to Genesis. What did you say?
Okay, so this is about
Cantor.
Yeah, Dr. Cantor. Cantor's method of proof of this theorem implies the existence of an infinity of infinities. That's Alpha and Omega if you Christian, right? That's it's there. Every culture throughout time has gotten to that point. We, by culture and just the fact that we are finite, we call it different things. We dress it up in different ways. And at this point, I validate all of it.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that
I'm not trying to convince nobody that what they're doing is not right. I think it's all valid.
Thank you.
I'm glad you brought that up, because now this makes this story make way more sense about how he went to Africa. He was studying the fractals, and then he went to a priest. He saw what they were doing. He says, "Okay, what?" And then he says, "You know what? The Cantor said."
Mm-hmm.
And then
what? And then they're interested in it. Like, hold on.
Yeah.
What? And then
he got excited over it, right? That's what he said.
Yeah, he said that.
Wow. Right. And so now he's like, "Well, can I pay you to like tell me how you do this?" "No, you can't pay me. Even though you told me Cantor said and everything, no, you can't pay us. You're going to have to get initiated, right?"
And why?
But the key is that he only got one hand of Ephah. They did not give, because Ephah, you have to have two hands to really get the full thing. So they only gave him one hand. So
which is not what, sister? It's not balance. Remember, I said my conceptualization. So he didn't get balance.
They told him just enough, because you know what I'm saying. So
all right, now hold on. Even in Egypt, when the Greeks were going over and trying to study under the ancient Egyptians, they didn't give them the full knowledge. They wouldn't even. They weren't even half. They didn't get half of the knowledge. They didn't get the full. So that's why they were able to come out, and they did come up with theories and some philosophy, but they didn't get the totality.
Oh no, they didn't.
Right. If you look at the actual like Odu that he brings up, that's only one side of the Odu. It's not the other side. There's two. There should be two of them lined up side by side, and that would really even blow his mind. So
now I'm gonna go here real quick. It's gonna be real quick. The only the non-melanated, they're not gonna have it all. They're not gonna have the full story.
It's
because the original people, we don't want to go there right now, but it's like, yeah, they gave him, because he showed humility. They allowed him some of the knowledge, and he had proven that he was learned and studied.
Wow.
Makes sense to me. I love this. I think this is great because I didn't know about cancer or this. So I'm glad I tuned in tonight. This is awesome.
And this is they keep saying prove God, but they won't give us time. I could have never shown this on Matt Dillahunty. He didn't even barely let me say conceptualization. But this is the time we're going to show these things like this, and then we're going to go back to explaining to them. You believe.
So now you have the white man, which is fine. I don't have a problem with any of that. Validating ancient African practices. And my problem with black atheists sometimes is they act like black people are stupid. Well, since we so stupid, show them this guy because he's white, because they love white people.
And I want to show you. So I'm going to show you proof that he only got one hand. Is because if you look at his diagram, he only shows one side. But like I said, there's two. It's two Odu. When you do your reading, you're gonna. It's two sides to it. So he only got to see. He only got to get one hand of the Odu.
You would be crazy to give somebody outside of your culture the full system.
You know what I'm saying? So
you would never do that. Makes no sense from a survival perspective. You get what I'm saying? So it makes sense that they wouldn't initiate him fully. That would have been nuts.
Oh no, the guy sold out. I'm gonna mute out and Jennifer keep going. I just have to take this call, but go ahead. This is great.
A little bit. I'm gonna go back a little bit, but
please hit the like button.
And they wouldn't tell me. They said, no, I can't tell you. I said, well, look, I'll pay you. You can be my teacher, and I'll come each day and pay you. I said, it's not a matter of money. This is a religious matter. And finally, out of desperation, I said, well, let me explain George Cantor in 1877. And I started explaining, why I was there in Africa. And they got very excited when they saw the Cantor set. And one of them said, come here, I think I can help you out here. And so he took me through the initiation ritual for a Bamana priest. And of course, I was only interested in the math. So the whole time he kept shaking his head going, I didn't learn it this way. But I had to sleep with a kola nut next to my bed, buried in sand, and give 7 coins to 7 lepers, and so on. And finally, he revealed the truth of.
From what I saw when I heard this, you notice even though he didn't believe any of it, he still had to do the ritual to get a hold of the information.
Right. Well, he got initiated into Babaluaye, which is interesting. He must have had some kind of a infectious disease. But bottom line is that that he got initiated into Babaluaye. That's why he had to do things with lepers and people that were sick and this, that, the other. So he got initiated into Babaluaye, which is for disease and stuff, which is interesting. But that's another story. Okay. Anyways, but he had to go through the entire initiation, right, to do that. But it's interesting how matter of fact it is. Like I had to give things to lepers and blah 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 blah. Like that like he was so interested in what he wanted to know that he just discounted the actual initiation he went through, which is crazy to me. I'm like, wow.
And so on. And finally, he revealed the truth this way. But I had to sleep with a kola nut next to my bed, buried in sand, and give 7 coins to 7 lepers, and so on. And finally, he revealed the truth of the matter. And it turns out it's a pseudo-random number generator. They're using deterministic chaos. When you have a 4-bit symbol, you then put it together with another one sideways. So even plus odd gives you odd. Odd plus even gives you odd. Even plus even gives you even. Odd plus odd gives you even. It's addition modulo 2, just like in the parity bit check on your computer. And then you take this symbol and you put it back in, so it's a self-generating diversity of symbols. They're truly using a kind of deterministic chaos in doing this. Now, because it's a binary code, you can actually implement this in hardware. What a fantastic teaching tool that should be in African engineering schools. And the most interesting thing I found out about it.
What we are watching, what we are seeing and hearing is this white professional, highly educated man explain to you that the concept of basic computing is based off of old African knowledge. I just want that to be known, because while we running around here acting like black people so stupid and nobody knows anything, and no. Everything is coming out of that. He's explaining computing. I went to school for computer science. This is the fundamentals of computing that he's talking about. Go ahead.
And I want to go back because I think we missed the part where he went into geomancy and this, that. Yeah, I think we missed that part. Well, it was okay. So the parry bit, one plus one. Let's go into this real quick.
I couldn't understand where they were getting the other 12 symbols. And they wouldn't tell me. They said, no, I can't tell you about this. I said, well, look, I'll pay you. You can be my teacher, and I'll come each day and pay you. I said, it's not a matter of money. This is a religious matter. And finally, out of desperation, I said, well, let me explain George Cantor in 1877. And I started explaining, why I was there in Africa. And they got very excited when they saw the Cantor set. And one of them said, come here, I think I can help you out here. And so he took me through the initiation ritual for a Bamana priest. And of course, I was only interested in the math. So the whole time he kept shaking his head going, I didn't learn it this way. But I had to sleep with a cola nut next to my bed, buried in sand, and give 7 coins to 7 lepers, and so on. And finally, he revealed the truth of the matter. And it turns out it's a pseudo-random number generator. They're using deterministic chaos. When you have a 4-bit symbol, you then put it together with another one sideways. So even plus odd gives you odd. Odd plus even gives you odd. Even plus even gives you even. Odd plus odd gives you even. It's addition modulo 2, just like in the parity bit check on your computer. And then you take this symbol and you put it back in, so it's a self-generating diversity of symbols. They're truly using a kind of deterministic chaos in doing this. Now, because it's a binary code, you can actually implement this in hardware. What a fantastic teaching tool that should be in African engineering schools. And the most interesting thing I found out about it was historical. In the 12th century, Hugo of Santillana brought it from Islamic mystics into Spain. And there it entered into the alchemy community as geomancy, the divination through the earth. This is a geomantic chart drawn by for King Richard II in 1390. Leibniz, the German mathematician, talked about geomancy in his dissertation called De Combinatoria. And he said, well, instead of using 1 stroke and 2 strokes, let's use a 1 and a 0. And we can count by powers of 2, right? 1s and 0s, the binary code. George Boole took Leibniz's binary code and created Boolean algebra, and John von Neumann took Boolean algebra and created the digital computer. So all these little PDAs and laptops, every digital circuit in the world started in Africa. And I know Brian Eno says there's not enough African in computers, but I don't think there's enough African history in Brian Eno.
There it is. Wow. Mic drop.
So,
and then he's going to discuss like how they implemented it within his own community. But yeah, so bottom line is that they use these different methods of divination to create a binary system, and really all of computers, zeros and ones, right?
It all it's all in there wrapped together.
Yeah, thank you.
It just is. The proof is actually the actual science. The proof is, see, we think because we have an iPhone that we are at the top of humanity. And I would venture to say we're probably, and honestly, I think we're at the bottom. I think things go up and things go down over millennia. This is not like year by millennia pass. So you mean to tell me the ancient Africans realized this and we're just picking it up? So for anybody to be talking about something they know for sure of anything, you out your mind. And especially when your name is Cedric or Q or any random human. It don't have to be them. Anybody. You gotta understand that is the proof. The fact that we just don't disintegrate and fall apart and things are in order, that's your proof.
Yeah, and
I don't know what they want, like a magic show, because they're not gonna get it.
Well, that's what they're still looking at God through the lens of the the Pentecostal church or the Baptist church, like Matt Dillahunty. He is from a Baptist.
They need to get over it.
Yeah. So they're still looking for us to come out and explain stuff about Jesus and God and things like that.
Right. If that's what they want to be mad at, then call it that. Just say you don't like Christianity or the form of Christianity that would show
faith. Yeah. Excuse me. Go
like
ahead.
to have that opinion, but stop trying to act as if you could, and that's your proof for why there can be no spirituality at all. You don't have any proof either. So why are you arguing?
Thank you.
It's just a weird stance, I think, to take.
And they always say, well, you're the one that believes, so you have to prove it. I don't have to prove. It's like, you're the one. I'm going to say it again. No, I guess that's an echo. They're like, you know what ice cream tastes like, and I want you to taste it for me. Since you said, I want to show you the experiment after she finishes with this, but I don't know if you saw it yesterday, Latoya, the color experiment about consciousness. So once she shows what she's showing Genesis, I'm gonna stop sharing this and bring up the Mary and the color red consciousness experience. So I appreciate everyone who is in here listening. Please hit the like button. Please share. Go ahead, Genesis. What did you want to say about what you're sharing?
These are the 256 major Odu. Minor Odu. I'm sorry. There's 16 major Odu. And then there are the subsequent minor Odu that come after it. So that's pretty much what the Odu is. And then each of these Odus line up to a different a verse of Ifa that they memorized. There was no books, there was no writing, everything was memorized. So you imagine how intelligent a person had to be to memorize this much information. Because even just the basics of the Odu. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's a lot of information to be able to memorize. You understand?
Oh yeah, definitely. So what are you exactly saying, that there's no way that they could have just
I'm trying to when people are saying that people were not unintelligent, for them to be able to memorize 256, even if there's just one song, 256 songs, right? But no, these were entire songs and with verses and everything. And those songs actually would dictate what was going on with a person, you know? Mm-hmm. So it was a prescription.
Yeah, it's fascinating. This is the proof that they always say, give us proof. This is definitely proof that we present. And of course, we know that they need to deny it. That's what keeps them keeps their belief in the non-existence of God. That's what keeps it going. However, this is very strong proof. So let me show. I want to share this. Thank you for sharing that. I want to continue to bring that up, even in.
And I want to also give you an example of an Odu, so people understand. Right. So one Odu is Ogbe Meiji, right? Ogbe Meiji is like the first thing. Oyeku is the owner of Ogbe. So Ogbe is the open road, the light. Ogbe is darkness, right? So they start the Odus with Ogbe. which is light, open road, things like this. So it's the first and fundamental Odu in the divination system. This is things how things come into being, how things come in, right? It is the origin of creation. It's considered the father of all of the other Odu. It is associated with the head, life, transformation, power, manifestation. So, but here's the thing: it can go. If you really go really deep into it, it will tell you if you have stomach problems, if you need to watch out for your diet, what you need to eat, don't eat this, don't eat that. Like it gets very, very detailed. Like just to give you an example of how much a person has to memorize, just based on just Agbe Meiji alone, right? Ejiogbe, right? This amount of information, right? And this is not even so health. Ejiogbe warns about the importance of taking care of your health. The sign speaks of constant headaches generated by stress. People with this Odu should avoid lifting heavy objects and making sudden movements, as they tend to suffer from spinal problems. It is also advisable to avoid situations that cause stress and anxiety and look for methods to relax and stay calm. Prudence and attention to health are essential to maintain economic prosperity. This Odu highlights the importance of making sacrifices to promote luck and financial success. Ejiogbe is an Odu of great significance. It highlights the importance of devotion, attention to their Orishas, as well as need to offer their Rumula. Like, I mean, and look, let me show you how long this thing can go. I mean, it has like a bunch of like ads and stuff, but this is a lot to memorize to be able to tell some. So the Babalao, 256 of this information.
And we want to stress that this is, but they couldn't make this up. It comes from a spirit realm, correct?
Yes. This information, it tells you everything about. So when this Odu comes up, if you get a reading, it's telling you all of this information. Like I mean, and it's still going on. It's still going. Listen, do not abandon your husband, especially if he's a priest, to avoid death. Do not go out in the street for 7 days when you see this in Ifa. Do not wear striped clothes because it attracts prison. Don't get involved in matters that don't matter to you.
Stop right there. So what we're looking at is how every religion, every spiritual belief, I should say, creates a code or a set of rules, codes to follow, and it's for your own good. And so I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, so you go to the Babalao, and they have to memorize all this. So it's not like Babalaos memorize all this information. So imagine how much intellect you have to have, how much of a mind you have to, memory you have to memorize. Okay, for this Odu, you're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that, you're supposed to do this. Don't wear white or black. Ejiogbe's spouse must be of a different color, white or black, never mulatto. So they're not supposed to date people. They be white or black. This is how deep it gets, right? So, don't go around with witchy things. This is actually, so do not eat sweet potatoes, eggs, or sandy fruits. Like it goes into what you should eat, everything.
Okay, so I wanna stop you there with this.
And I haven't even gotten, listen, I'm still scrolling. This is how much information just on one Odu. And then if you actually look at the books that they have, one Odu could have a book this like thick as heck, you know? And this is how much information it is, right? So that is the level of data. So
and that's how many different spiritual how do you say beliefs, like when they say God gave the Torah to Moses. I'm going to show you something. When it said God gave the Torah to Moses, it was something that was bestowed upon a group of people spiritually. So that's that's not a different conversation, but it shows them when they're like, well, did you say God gave you this? I don't really think God gave you this. It is given to somebody through, I'm going to bring us into the consciousness conversation, y'all. It is given to us through our consciousness, but it doesn't mean that God isn't real, that spirit realm isn't real, that those divine beings aren't real. You know what I'm saying? So now I appreciate you sharing that. I do want to point out, Genesis showed us, when they say show us some proof that about God, and that there is a a higher power. So she shows us this particular situation, this example. That was something that for me, I'm going to ask Latoya too. For me, obviously that was objective, tangible, something that was given and used in mainstream industry, right? But it came from God, and the guy, I forgot, Dr. Ingalls was his name. He doesn't deny that he actually got this from something metaphysical or something that is outside of mainstream science, right?
Right. And see how calm he was?
Yeah.
He knows where he got the information from. He know, even though, he may not have valued as much because it's not his culture, and that is okay, by the way. Because it's not his culture, he doesn't understand or may have valued, when they talk about the cola, like the actual initiation side. He was still able to see the truth for the truth. Like he was still able to validate and see, oh my goodness, they really this is here.
Right.
This guy, that guy that's speaking, that scientist, this is not I can tell you, he's not a spirit. He doesn't deal in spirit. He deals in science.
Thank you.
And what I'm saying is, here's the key. It's all the same. We as human beings are the one that have separated it and made it whatever we want to make it, and we use our brains and conceptualize all this other stuff. But that is the proof.
Oh yeah, I agree. And you remember, I think you recently, Sonetter did a show on the divinity of math. And God is math. But what was the doctor that we brought on a while ago? He's, the African doctor. He talks about the God is math. Do you know what I'm talking about? Damn.
Yeah. I mean, that makes perfectly, I don't have a problem with that.
I got to find it. But there is definitely what you're saying. They don't want to see that. But I appreciate on this stream particularly that we presented this information here, or Genesis actually did. And then, that was great what you talked about with Cantor. If you give me a minute, I do want to look that up with the one mathematician. If I can't find the African, we interviewed him. I forgot what his theory is, but there is an Indian mathematician. I want to show you what he says about God and math. So they're always asking us, prove this, prove that. Oh, you're ridiculous. Oh, you're ignorant. But as you said, he wasn't shocked, that doctor. These high thinkers, these intelligent minds know. They know. So I'll hand it over to you two if you hold it down for a second. I'm just looking up this mathematician. Actually, you know what? I wanted to read this. I don't want to go away from this too much, but I wanted to read again about the experiment. I read it yesterday. I want to read it again because what we're going into, finally, science is facing the facts and joining together with philosophers, and they are looking at consciousness as something that they cannot fully understand, like these atheists say, consciousness is just in the brain. The conversation with mainstream academic science, mainstream doctors, mainstream psychiatrists at the University of Virginia and around the world, Sir Roger Penrose, Dr. Samparnia, Dr. Hameroff, it goes on and on. So they all say.
See this link I put in here. It was talking about the doctor from Nigeria.
That I was talking about.
Is a guy, Dr. Tony Van Dermer, a scholar in leadership and change, a study on each E5 practitioner in the United States who was initiated in Nigeria. in Antioch University? Or is that something different?
But you can it's somebody different, but you can go ahead and read this.
Oh no, I was trying to find out if that you were talking about the same person. Okay, so all right. So while many prominent Black mathematicians have made significant contributions to the field, there's limited publicly available information directly connecting individuals with this specific religions like Ifa. However, it is important to note that the historical and philosophical links between Ifa and mathematical principles, particularly within Yoruba tradition, binary systems, and divination. Ifa divination utilizes a system with 256 possible outcomes, odus, which are inherently binary and represent by specific binary codes, drawing parallels to modern computer science. Mathematical precision. Ifa incorporates mathematical principles, including geometric patterns and numerical symbolism in its rituals and interpretations. All right. And so I guess this guy, Tony Van Der Meer, he was initiated in Nigeria, and his work explores culture and spiritual aspects of this practice. He's not focused on mathematics specifically, but the bottom line is that I was trying to find out where we really break down the aspect of Ifa. And all right, is this whether we get into the fractals? I'm trying to show the picture of the fractal. This is a fractal. So this is this is the African fractals. And so what they're saying is that African communities and homes were built like these fractals. Baila simulation. Have you guys heard of that? Baila simulation?
What do you call it?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you could see this. Okay. You see this? That is a fractal.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how the communities were built. And then the communities were built like this, and then you go to the house, and the house was built like this. So everything like was built kind of similarly. Like, so you would look at this is actually looking at it from above.
Right. And here's the thing, that's Ifa, but if you go to South America and you look above, you'll see there's always these patterns. No matter where you look, you're gonna find these patterns, and you're gonna find that those structures are way better built than ours are today. Well, that's why the pyramids have lasted all war, all kind of earth. You know what I mean?
Right. Throughout the world, he actually went into look indigenous. Listen, this is not just about Africa.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to ask you, Genesis, is this person from your channel?
Who?
E Black.
I think so. Can you hear me?
Could you turn on E Black? Could you turn your camera on in the back so I can see who you are and make sure that we don't have any issues?
Yeah, he is from my channel. Yep.
Well, I gotta make sure. You said you weren't sure.
Yeah, now that I see, he asked for the link. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he's not gonna porn bomb.
Hello, everybody. I apologize. I'm not on camera. I wanted to support my girl, DJ Genesis, and I love the conversation y'all got going on.
Okay. Did you want to add something?
No, y'all keep going. Y'all was cooking on the what y'all was talking about, so I don't want to disrupt y'all flow.
Okay, but did you want to add anything at all ever, or you just want to be up on the panel?
No, I actually do want to add stuff, but I don't want to stop you guys from the current conversation you were talking about in terms of fractal and the dimensions of spiritual. I don't want to disrupt y'all.
Okay. All right. So finish. Go ahead and say what you were saying about fractals, and then I want to show something.
Can you see this right here? What I'm bringing up?
That's kind of tiny, though, to be honest. I mean,
okay,
I don't want to get too far away from.
Yeah, you gotta keep it at a level where it's attainable. Because if I don't believe in your system, it tunes me out.
I wanted to show you what a fractal is, right? So it shows it so if you look at it one way, it looks like this. When you zoom out, it looks like this. You zoom out, it looks like this. Zoom out more. And so that's what a fractal is. And the societies were built this way. And and the book is not called just African Practicals about just only, but it was in indigenous design. So he is discussing architecture and all the stuff within all across indigenous places, not just Africa. So he went
right.
all over.
Right. I mean, even Native Americans, when you look at their patterns and their textiles, all the ancient society, you're gonna find the patterns, you're gonna find the balance and the harmony. And if you do a mathematical breakdown, you're gonna find the same principles.
Right. So I just want to make
That's
sure
the proof.
It's not just only about Africa. It's about just in indigenous.
It's all over the world.
Yes,
it's all over the world because that's the proof.
Yes.
You can't escape it. I mean, you really can't. I think what people have a problem with is because we're humans, right? We get sticky, right? So we start believing in our own stuff, and then we start adding stuff to it. But if you take it back before we start adding our stuff and getting all crazy, right? And that's fine because culture is going to be culture. You'll find that there's these underlying principles that just seem to run no matter where you go. That math is going to math.
Thank you.
And that math that's mathing is what we all break down and call God. And different cultures take that and we bend it and we, depending on time and space and where we're at along the space time continuum, we use it a certain way. But the proof of all of this is that is the proof.
Right. Thank you so much.
Right. So if they want to sit on panels and yell about Jesus and be weird, then let them do it.
You know what about God, basically.
And then you got to think about this. Why would a civilization create its actual buildings looking like a fractal?
Yeah, it was divinely, it was literally divinely inspired. I do want to read, we're talking about other civilizations and mathematicians and the link between math and the language of God. We have this particular well-known mathematician. His name is Ramanujan. His name is Srinivasa Ramanujan. The first name is a little off, but I know it's Ramanujan. One of his quotes is that an equation means nothing. This is him. An equation means nothing to me unless it expresses a thought of God. Now, the interesting thing about him is he was a peasant. He was a peasant who had no formal training whatsoever, none in math. And he was just a bare genius in math, and he boggled the minds of all the stuffy professors and scholars and mathematicians of Cambridge in England. They took him from England to study at Cambridge. Let me read a little bit of this right here. They took him from England and to study at Cambridge, and they couldn't understand how he knew all this math. And he always would attribute it to God gave it to me.
There it is.
He'd say, God gave it to me. So Srinivasa Ramanujan is, let's read this. So here's a picture of him. He was an Indian mathematician, widely regarded as one of the greatest mathematicians of all time, though he had almost no formal training in pure mathematics. He made a substantial contribution to the mathematical analysis, number theory, infinite series, and continued fractions, including solutions to mathematical problems then considered unsolvable, y'all. And every time they asked him, how do you know this? At the University of Cambridge, he'd say, I got this from God. I can't do this without God. He said, God, I hear God's voice, and that's how I do these equations. He was a peasant sweeping and scrubbing floors, the poorest parts of India. And then they took him and to Cambridge, and they just were like, how is he doing this?
But honey, that picture, like he John Michael Jackson Thriller right there. Who did his picture? He was styling that picture, honey. He was not playing, honey. He greased his hair down. He was not playing, honey.
Yeah, so this is another person, another thing, proof that even though they take the spiritual and they bring it and they marry it to the mainstream academic science, right? And then
hold on. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have cut you off. Forgive me for that.
Go ahead.
I would say it even clearer. They take what is spiritual, strip the math out of it to commodify it and sell it and put it in a product and put it in a computer and put it in a phone, but they don't want none of the morals that go with it. They don't want none of the good to you know what I'm saying? That's what this really is about. We want to separate. You don't want to take the whole system. See, the indigenous took the whole system. They take the morals along with the math. And what Western society has done is we want, people high enough up on the Western system side, they know the truth. Okay. What we want to do is we want to take all of that other stuff from you. We don't want you being moral and balanced and dealing healing, because then you can't buy our drugs.
Right.
But we want the math. You know what I'm saying? And even the guy that Genesis showed us, he was big on the math. When they start trying to get him to see that other spiritual side, which is why he could only get half of it, he don't want to hear nothing about no morality and living right. And he don't want to hear nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? He wants that math.
Yeah, and it would have been good. I just thought about it. You're absolutely right. Like, now I know if I need to quickly answer an atheist when they say, how can you prove God? Which I don't want to prove God, but from my concept of God includes math is the language of God. And
it is definitely the language. It's the universal language of God.
Yes.
Math everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Math is math everywhere.
And you know what's interesting? Because I want to keep doing these series. You two are a blessing to come up here and dialogue and share and teach with me up here. But I was trying to find that quote about Max Planck. We get back to him, and Max Planck is the father of quantum mechanics. And these scientists like him, Tesla, they all knew. They didn't think. They knew that there is a God. They knew, and they know. So,
but now hold on. You bring up a good point, Napa. If you take Tesla, right? When Tesla was because Tesla was studying that ancient stuff, when he wanted to give the people free electricity, they killed him. That's what they do.
Oh, yeah, they killed him. 100% they killed him. First they needed to try to make him look like he was crazy, discredit him, and then boom, they
took his science,
turned it
into companies, and he ended up dying in a one shack room with no money, and it was all his work.
But then they came and took all of his work, and that was bad.
It's sad.
He was a professor at the University of Michigan, Ron English.
Ron English?
Yeah, and look, check this out, because I just realized it. All his information. Check the back chat right here. He has his phone number and everything, but you could reach out to
Ron Ingalls, that guy. Okay.
Oh, that would be an interesting conversation.
Reach out to him right there. Ron English right there. That's his thing in the back chat right there.
His last name is English, is it?
Yep.
Well, whatever his name, but we got to get in touch with him. Not whatever, not to be disrespectful, but yes.
But he has all his because they've created software, and he's actually done like when I'm looking at his website, he's done a whole thing about Native American cybernetics, culture,
Native American going
cybernetics,
spiritual.
like race ethnicity in science and technology, like he appropriating technology, vernacular science and social power. I mean, he social
now
studies.
see, but what's funny is so you see what they're doing. You see what he's doing. He's studying ancient societies that had better morals than our butts have got. Okay, so he's doing that, but he's doing exactly what I explained. He's getting he knows it's spiritual, but he don't want to hear none of that. He wants to strip the math out of it, create products, and consumerize it and sell it back to us.
Yes.
Yeah, and he also is getting endowments. He's got a $7 million endowment to do the
Yeah,
research.
because he's gonna make a whole lot of people some money. But what's crazy is you're sitting in front of spiritual people. You're not gonna benefit from none of that because you so damn greedy.
Oh yeah, the greed is there.
Jesus, human beings, man.
And remember this, it
we
won't
something
work
else.
And it won't, in the end, it will not work to be balanced and help, because he's using it in a greedy way, and he didn't even get the full permission to use it. So ultimately, even though
science,
we say, this is where they say things like, we don't need a set of rules. We don't need to follow anything to believe in a God.
And that's why the world is falling apart right now.
And they say, because we can do it ourselves. But when they do it themselves, yes, it works like what he did. And that's not going to work out, because he's self-centered and greedy, and
not just him.
He doesn't respect the ancient divinity. He doesn't respect the God of it. Peace, Devin.
And the reason why the earth is running the way it's running right now is because we don't want to deal with this. We don't want to deal with the other side of it. We only want to deal with this side that we can manipulate and turn into something. And we've been doing this. We've been running this show a while, and that's why it's all falling apart. That's the truth.
You know what? When I think about this, how did he know this? Like, how did he know that this existed? Like, I mean, if you're living in Africa, he
knows it because he studied science, and studying science is studying God.
Show this picture right here. Show that picture. That's crazy. How did he know that these buildings were built in a fractal pattern like this? Like that this is an actual building.
They have research. They research us. They research everything. They research all ancient spirituality. They know the secrets. When I say they, the scientists that tell people, or actually that the foolish people reject. The basic mainstream believers say, we don't want to believe it. Meanwhile, their prophets, which are the people of academic science, mainstream conventional science, they're going and looking into people who the theist mindset, the conceptualization of God and all the workings around it. So it's interesting. Peace to indigenous black men. I want to keep this as at like.
I know we're getting deeper, but I'm looking at this like, how would you even figure this out? Like, how would you know? I guess maybe he looked at a picture, so that's a fractal. I mean, I don't get it.
Well, no, he went deeper than that, because remember, we got to go. I want to close out with Cantor again. If we can even just whatever you were reading, pull that up, and we can end it with the stream that they ask us for proof of God. This is the proof of God. What is that right there? The more fractal, more
aerial view of the village of Libenzanga.
Wow. And this is
all their village and didn't even realize they were building something that looked
they knew they were following
strictly. Oh, they knew.
See, this is where we talk about they knew, because
they knew exactly what they were doing, because they knew the math.
They followed the voice of God, the language
there
of
it
God,
is.
And they knew by faith. And this is where the atheist says, "Oh, you're ridiculous." But look at what we have in front of us. This
right. That's amazing. When you look at it from above, it's like, whoa, like what? It looks. If you actually just
if you look up Peru and you look at the way that from above and how certain areas are laid out, these people were not using the math that we use. They had to be hearing something.
Oh yeah.
internally, the inner witness.
Like what Ramanujan said. Remember, he said,
yes,
if it's math, if everything's coming from God. He said from God, the voice of God. So thank you so much, ladies.
Did what's his name want to say something? E Black.
Oh yes, before he goes, I want to say to everybody, thank you for joining. I know it's late. Please hit the like button. We're going to continue this series.
Yeah, this was awesome tonight, ladies.
Latoya, you got to keep on coming in. Because once we let E Black TV, I asked him if he wanted to go. I practically was pushing him all. He didn't want to go, but now, okay, he definitely can say something. But Latoya, I want to go back to the thing about Cantor. If we could just play a little bit of that video at the end again, Genesis. You know what I'm saying? Just because for the people who came in late, you know where he says, where he's like, "Oh, I wanted to get this information." Yeah. So. E Black, did you want to say something before we close out?
No. You know, the one thing about me, I've been on YouTube for a while and I've learned how to give people respect while they're kind of in their mode. And I just want to say salute to you women. You guys, like I know a lot of this stuff kind of seems like over the hill or over the head with a lot of people, but I understand everything that's going on. And you know, like I said, I don't want to ever have interrupt the conversation where you guys are definitely discussing things that are true to nature, you know. So,
well, let me put the big screen and let me say this: if you hit the panel, you want to add, and we want you to add. Is this the Anyame symbol?
This is yeah. The guy named me. Well, this is the black sun. You know, the guy named me. I come from do you know Wade Nobles?
No.
The black psychologist out of California, San Francisco,
sir.
Oakland.
I just knew I see that ancient African symbol in
the Yeah. So the guy named A is the middle symbol, but then when you have the symbol around it, it's the black sun. And then when you talk about black culture, like there is no negative thought into black. So when you talk about the black sun, it's not a negative, it's the highest point of the sun. Much like how you talk about the black part of the river in Sudan. There is no negative to blackness. So the highest point of the sun means the most infinite power of God that comes to you. So that's kind of what the symbol is. I can get real deep into that, but it's really tough when you don't really have people around you that like listen to that.
You need to come back and join the panel and add next time. So I appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you so much for your support and for that background. That was interesting. I like that. Look, the thing about being you'll always hear something interesting on from both sides. When you're a theist or I'm not saying atheist, but when the theists speak, and then when we have the mathematicians speak, it sounds like they're different languages, but they still are saying the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, and me being I'm very much religious, so I find myself, especially in the pro-black community, especially in the pro-African community, having my wits and odds with things, and I kind of have to explain my journey with things. So it's definitely interesting to have a conversation with other individuals,
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, because like Latoya and my I we all know what my is. So I of course you gonna always be treasured in my heart. So so it's like.
That's good. I like that.
Even to carry that name, it's like me calling myself E Black Jesus. It's like people would be calling me out all that left and right, and so But anyway, I seen DJ Genesis was on, and I know her vibe. I haven't been able to kick it with her as much as I'd want to, but I just kind of like hit the panel and wanted to show my support. I see you guys was cooking, but I don't want to get too far off the line. whatever you guys got going on.
Thank you.
Real quick, I promise. Less than a minute, Nepal.
What?
E-Black, thank you for being the type of male that does not feel intimidated or feels like he has to one up because women are talking about science and math and things of spirit. I honor you for that because you didn't butt in. You're not giving us no slack. This is masculinity, fellas.
I didn't know how to act. I was like, you sure you don't want to talk? That's weird. This is bizarre.
Right, because we so used to, I'm the man. It ain't got nothing to do with that. If truth is coming forth, it shouldn't matter what the genitals on the damn truth look like. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'll go.
Yeah, I'll say this on this. I think God has. I'll say it like this, and we'll be short because I could be long with it. Yeah. God has blessed everybody. Like the symbol that I have on my thing. This means that God has put us. If you think about the sun has every single day, put out an infinite or an uninfinite amount of power to everybody, not male, not female. So everything on this earth, whether it's the trees, the grass, the dirt, has an opportunity to grasp any type of power that he's put on here. We do not have to fight each other to,
I agree,
grasp that power. He's giving it all to all of us every single day. So tomorrow when the sun comes up, you have an infinite amount of ability to grab that power. And that's kind of what that symbol means. It's the black sun. It means anybody, especially black people, we have an melanin in our body to attract a vehicle that attributes power. And I don't know. I don't get into the whole male female dynamics. I believe God has put us both on this earth for whatever reason, and whether you believe the Bible or whatever, but I just don't get into that. I think God, I've learned in my 40-something years of that shit don't matter.
It don't. Thank you.
I appreciate that. So I'm gonna, before I play Genesis' close out, I want to show you what's going on over on the channel with the atheists.
Oh Lord, what's going on there? What are they saying, child?
You'll have one that says you'll have something that says it's not true. I'll have something that says
he's not going to bring any scientific article making that
claim.
I am.
What are you talking about?
He's going to bring free science.
What are you
he's
talking
going to bring
about?
every pseudo
what are you talking about? I promise you, I'm not going to quote one Bible scripture.
A pseudo is always going to die.
I'm not going to quote one Bible scripture,
right?
son.
Number two,
Cedric is a coward who still won't come over here. He's scared. I invited him to come yesterday. He sits over there and talks all, where he's safe. And he's talking about Yara won't bring one source. Cedric, why don't you come over here and bring some sources and try to show us that's exactly. You know what I'm talking about. You've heard me talk about the University of Virginia. He killed him. They had to take those videos down off of pseudo killers. But here, this is the chaos going on over there.
That's irrelevant. You're making a claim about
as a caveat to this debate.
I'm going to show everybody.
Let him speak, bro. Let him speak.
I'm going to show everybody.
He ain't letting him speak.
When the conceptualization of spirits came, that when you talk about spirit, you're actually dealing with a turn of the century Aristotelian thought process that over the decades, over the centuries, individuals like Kant and Hume have completely dismissed as arbitrary assertions without any evidence. It is a primitive way of understanding the mind. So if he wants to go down that route.
Oh, shush your wah, wah, wah.
He did.
I think, and with all due respect, I don't know this guy, but any person who has a seatbelt on, I don't want to believe in any type of
Oh,
spirituality.
now there's a lot of people. I can't go there. I see a lot of good people.
I wear my seatbelt every time.
People, yeah, some people don't have time to stand and pose in the green room. You looking in the mirror if you drive and say, "I look good." Let me take.
Wait, is he driving or is he actually just sitting still with a seatbelt on?
No, that's a picture. So I just want to say, Cedric, we invited you yesterday. Cube, we invited you yesterday. We did great today. Just on the panel with Genesis information that we presented. We're going to present more information. Latoya Ma'at, she came in with some bombs about Cantor. Which I want us. That's what I want to end it with. They keep saying, "Show us some proof. Show us some proof." Number one, I can't make you see how to believe in God. Your belief is that God doesn't exist because you choose to be imbalanced. You choose to be that way. So we as theists, we are balanced. We see science and we see academic science, and then we see metaphysical, and we see that they're coming together. They're coming together, and the universal mind of God has always existed. You just can't find it. With that said, I'm going to reshare. I'm going to reshare what you were sharing, Genesis. I want you to play that, and then I'm going
to play that, but I want to show this real quick. A doctor.
I hope it's not okay.
All right, Dr. Kaitizua Lubanzadio. I can't say the word. All right, this is talking about the scientificity of African traditional knowledge. Okay, check out his book if you get a chance.
Okay.
The scientific.
Well, I don't want to seem like I'm trying to.
Here we go.
But
to fractals that
okay, go ahead.
Geometry was in a symbolic code, and this was Bamana sand divination, and the same divination system is found all over Africa. You can find on the East Coast as well as the West Coast, and often the symbols are very well preserved. So each of these symbols has 4 bits. It's a 4-bit binary word. You draw these lines in the sand randomly, and then you count off. And if it's an odd number, you put down 1 stroke, and if it's an even number, you put down 2 stroke. And they did this very rapidly. And I couldn't understand where they were getting, they only did the randomness 4 times. I couldn't understand where they were getting the other 12 symbols. And they wouldn't tell me. They said, no, I can't tell you about this. I said, well, look, I'll pay you. You can be my teacher, and I'll come each day and pay you. I said, it's not a matter of money. This is a religious matter. And finally, out of desperation, I said, well, let me explain George Cantor in 1877. And I started explaining, why I was there in Africa. And they got very excited when they saw the Cantor set. And one of them said, come here, I think I can help you out here. And so he took me through the initiation ritual for a Bamana priest. And of course, I was only interested in the math. So the whole time he kept shaking his head going, I didn't learn it this way. But I had to sleep with a kola nut next to my bed, buried in sand, and give 7 coins to 7 lepers, and so on. And finally, he revealed the truth of the matter. And it turns out it's a pseudo-random number generator. They're using deterministic chaos. When you have a 4-bit symbol, you then put it together with another one sideways. So even plus odd gives you odd. Odd plus even gives you odd.
Could you pause it for me?
Odd plus odd.
He mentioned
it's addition modulation.
Can you pause that? Thanks. So he mentioned Cantor, correct? That he told them about Cantor. I didn't hear him say that.
Yeah. He mentioned the Cantor set, and that's what made them even want to tell him about the divination system, but they wouldn't just give it to him. He had to get initiated. So,
yes, and the Cantor set is what they were excited about, because Cantor, if you would like to go back at Latoya and tell us about Cantor and his research, his set theory, and his establishment, his contributions to mathematics.
It said Cantor's method of proof of this theorem implies the existence of an infinity of infinities.
Say that again.
Cantor's method of proof of this theorem implies the existence of an infinity of infinities.
Okay, that we need it one more time, because I like my threes.
No problem. Cantor's method of proof of this theorem implies the existence of an infinity of infinities. Yeah.
And who is the infinity of infinities? Anybody?
Depending on what culture, we call it God.
Thank you. So they ask us for proof, and that's pretty solid proof. And I think we should continue this series. I would like to continue it and present more. But
yes,
at the end,
beautiful.
In the end, but however, we will bring the proof like we've done today. Thanks to you, sisters. Thanks to the brother. Thanks to everyone who contributed. We will bring the proof. However, bringing the proof doesn't prove to them that God exists, because you have to be able to believe on your own. And that's the experiment with Mary. I can't see the color red for you. Let me just get that for you, and then we really can close it out. If you don't mind, please bear with me. So this experiment is a philosophical experiment that was done. It is an experiment on consciousness. They want science, and we're offering science. Mm-hmm. We're offering science to them, and they get mad when we offer science. They say, "You never offered science. You sound stupid." So anyway, here it is. Really quickly, I won't drag this out, but we'll just put the cherry on top. So this is a philosopher, because remember, philosophers and physicists and psychologists are coming together, right? Neurologists and philosophers are coming together to talk about consciousness. Philosopher Frank Jackson describes another thought experiment about how subjective experiences, subjective experiences are irreducible to physicalist accounts. Jackson imagines a neuroscientist. So this is the so-called experiment, right? So we're gonna hypothesize or just imagine. So there's a neuroscientist named Mary. She's been locked in her lab since birth. She knows everything there is to know about vision. You know how they like to say, what if someone grew up without ever knowing God? Or, Mary is a brilliant scientist who is, for whatever reason, forced to investigate the world from a black and white room via a black and white television monitor. She specializes in neurophysiology of vision and acquires, let us suppose, all the physical information there is to obtain about what goes on when we see ripe tomatoes or the sky, and use the terms like red and blue and so on. So she's studying, she knows everything that science can tell her. Every single study, she knows it, she's mastered it when it comes to how we, see color. She discovers, for example, just which wavelength combinations from the sky stimulate the retina, and exactly how this produces via the central nervous system the contraction of the vocal cords and expulsion of air from the lungs that results in the uttering of the sentence, "The sky is blue." Her scientific knowledge about vision is supposedly complete. Mary has never been outside her room, and it is a peculiar room where things have no color other than black and white. We can also imagine that she has been given a drug to make her skin, hair, and blood look white, and that there are no mirrors, so she cannot see the color in her eyes. Mary has never seen any color other than black and white and shades between them like grays, okay? But this is interesting, and this is great. So thank you for bearing with me. Suppose Mary is let out and she sees a red rose. Would her experience be entirely new or not? Surely she must have learned something when she sees the color red. Remember, she also knew everything there is to know about how the process goes. So Jackson finds this obvious. Will she learn anything or not? It seems just obvious that she will learn something about the world and our visual experience of it. He concludes that her knowledge must have been incomplete before she saw that color red. Are y'all hearing this?
Oh, yeah.
Incomplete, although she had all of the physical information. But then it is inescapable that her previous knowledge was incomplete, but she had all the physical information. See? So this goes on to talk about physical being false. That gets a little bit radical for me, but it's still basically, it goes back to my answer to Matt Delahunty when he asked me about my God. I used one part. I said, and my God is balanced. Get it? So
yeah.
we're balanced. So we're not saying that the science was wrong and not useful, but it wasn't complete. And for her to see that red, listen, now I want to bounce it off of you ladies on the panel and also in the chat. Which is more impactful to you?
Her actually going outside the room and seeing and experiencing it herself.
And is it only hers? Is it only hers when she sees it herself? When she sees that color? Because she knows the science is all there for everybody. And I'm not saying that the science should be discounted, right? They said, we want something objective. We need to see this. We need to see something that's been peer reviewed. Okay, here it is. But when I see, even though I know everything about how my eye receives a color, when I see the color red, can anyone see the color red for me?
No. It's impossible.
So, which is more impact? Well, for me, I'm going to choose if I have to choose. But go ahead, weigh in on that, because this is obviously, I'm saying about God. I can't prove to you that God is real. God is the color red, and I can't see the color red for you. I can never do that. You get it? So
no, the way you explain it, that's a very good example. I mean, it really is. I mean, if it's like, so when you were talking to the one guy, or even when you're talking to an atheist, it's like they're in the room, they're in the black and white room. The difference is they don't want to ever come out the room. They want to argue from in the room with people who are outside the room that they're wrong. And the problem is, but you're in the room. Like, you should at least allow yourself to experience coming out of the room before you say there's nothing outside of the room. Well, I'm outside of the room, and I'm telling you there is something outside of the room, but you're arguing me outside of the room that there's no way I'm outside of the room. And I'm saying, yeah, I am not in the room, I'm outside the room. If that makes any sense. It's like,
no, it does make sense. You're talking in the same vein, and we could Genesis, go ahead.
And I'm going to show something really quick, because I thought this when I just looked at this just blew my mind. All right, so let's start from here. This is
so now we're getting back to. I just want to let everybody know. So I showed you the thing. We're showing the balance, but it all goes.
We're gonna start from the very beginning. So this is the Bomina Sam divination. This is the I Ching.
But wait. You gotta get, for those who just came in, what are we showing them? This is people are these priests, these masters that contact and speak. I'm doing air quotes.
Right. So
talking to the divine, right? They're talking.
They are talking. They are getting information from the Akashic record. And then you get a reading, right? So what happened is when Ron English, he brought up the Cantor set, which is about what is the Cantor set for? What was it about? Say it again.
Okay, his thing was the members of the two set system.
Set theory.
Set theory. The creation of set theory.
Right. So the creation of set
theory. Read that quote again, and I love it. So because we can't get enough of that.
Cantor's method of proof of this theorem implies the existence of an infinity of infinities.
Thank you.
And this is the visual representation of that.
And that's mainstream science. He's like one of the fundamental contributors of mathematics. Yes.
Right. So this is a visual representation of that. So let's look at this similarity. This is I Ching.
No, this isn't I Ching. This is still the Bamana.
Oh, you can't see it. I'm sorry. I Ching.
There you go.
Now tell us what culture is this, and then tell us the background on this.
This is the Cantor set.
No, go back to I Ching though. That's Chinese.
I Ching is the Chinese.
Ancient Chinese. What is it? Tell the people.
This is a divination system of the Chinese for the Taoism.
Meaning
So Taoism is the religion that's using this divination. So basically what we've talked about tonight is that divination is a proof of that which we conceptualize it or call God. And all the systems in all the world has some form of a divination system, even Native Americans.
Yes, ma'am. Every theism
yes
has a divination system. Every single one. They have to, because what do? They say, prove what? Well, how does your God exist? We contact our God. So.
And look at how intricate the I Ching gets. It's like, whoa, like this is crazy. Look at this. Watch this.
Yes.
Hold on. I'm trying to find that picture, but it's very.
Oh, go back and read. Go up if you can, a little bit up. I see.
Look at this. This is cool. Wow.
Let's go from the beginning where it says right here. The building blocks of the cosmos, Fuqi devolved all aspects of civilization, kingship, marriage, writing, navigation, all agriculture. Why is this important? Because the next part of the series I want to go into, the information that we receive is uniform, mathematical. It's laid out and it's specific. It says, do this, do that, don't do this, go do that. And you notice it was in the Bamana code. It's in the I Ching. It's in, we could keep going. It's in Ma'at. It's in, it's in the Torah. It goes
Kabbalah, Gematria. I mean, you can't miss it.
Yeah.
Right. And so look, does this look, do you see how this
looks very similar to what we just saw with the San people?
And this is the set theory that she's showing.
This part, yeah.
Yeah, wow. And it does look like also the Bamana code, the divination, the African Bamana sand divinations. Yeah. This is great. So let's pick
this one being the oldest. This one, that African one, I gotta plug that.
Yep,
is older.
No, y'all don't start doing all that. You know, no,
I know. I got you.
I believe you. Actually, for me, I think they're contemporaneous, and they may have been the same people.
Oh, you know what? I will concede that point. You know what? I can take that.
Yeah,
I can take that.
But you know what, Latoya, look at us. Look how fresh we are. We're bringing in the is Kemet Black conversation and out of Africa, because they were probably the same people who migrated off further into Asia, and they held on to it, and it started to, you know what I mean, change.
Well, you need it. You need it because that's how you're going to start your civilization.
Yes.
The oldest known divination system is likely claromancy, the use of yarrow stocks, and I Ching divination. So I don't know. Maybe
that's why I said I agree. But you know what? That's a great conversation we could get into, but we don't want to go off too far to the left. The fact that we do know is that these are divination systems.
Wait, hold on. Do you know? Listen, dice.
Right, dice.
Well, dice is a form of divination. What?
But even in the Torah, they threw the bones and read the bones. The high priest.
South America, they do that as well with the bones. There's something there with that.
You know, someone told me that even when they start a football game, you know how they throw the penny up and put the thing down and heads or tails? That's divination.
It is divination, 100%.
And in the Bible with Jesus, they threw the lots and did that.
The lots, the cast for the You're gonna find it literally everywhere. that's how you know you're on to something, right? Like,
so then you have to question, why did they forbid it? Why did they say it was?
No, let's not say forbid. It's restricted and limited to a specific people who are privy to it. It's now that's where I get into the esoteric and, the clandestine, the arcane. Oh, it's still there. It's just restricted. Yeah.
When spiritual systems turned and started becoming religions, that's where I think we made the mistake. Because once your spiritual system now becomes a religion, now we're entering into control.
Yes.
And if I can control you, then I can commodify you and make money and be in that.
It's like they're saying they're giving us tomatoes, but they're giving us ketchup.
By the way, dice and playing cards were tools of even cards were tools of divination.
Yeah,
well, we know that
playing cards, like actual, like the king and that's divination.
All of that is mathematical.
Yes, it's
casinos is divination. They are.
Wow.
You know what? Somebody I know talks about, well, let me not incriminate him or her. They count cards, you know what I'm saying? But anyway,
counting cards, card counting.
The tools of one's fate. Before they were children's toys, they were predictive tools of one's fate.
Of course they were.
They
still are. They weren't. They are. So this is very interesting. 10 mathematicians who recognized God's hand. I want to show you this. I just Googled this. Oh, wow. This is great. We're looking at 10 mathematicians who recognize God's hand, part 2. I'm going to save this maybe because I didn't even look at the
yeah. You know what? It's late. I would rather you save that and have a fresh stream. When everybody's more up and fresh.
Yeah, I'm like, what? I'm learning more stuff.
Yeah, I can go all night, but
this is a rabbit hole, child. Y'all like, what?
This is a blessing. It's exciting. Again, thanks to everyone who joined. It's late, but it's great because we got to something that just couldn't wait. So anyway, peace to the panel, peace to the channel, peace to everybody. And yeah, they asked for proof. But even though we give the proof and we see, we can never make them see because it's their conceptualization. So thank you, Latoya Ma'at, Genesis. I don't know if y'all can see your way out or hang out. I'm gonna play this song to end this stream, and let's try to do this again tomorrow if we can. So what I'll do is I'll shoot you an email, Latoya. I don't think you have my new phone number. I got to send you my new phone number and Genesis and whoever else would like to join. But I really want to keep on going with this.
100%. Yeah.
It's not about arguing back and forth, but it is time, just like we do. We say enough is enough with the proselytizing Christians and the hypocritical Hebrews. And it's time to say, listen.
We need to have like study groups, like share information. Hey,
we used to have a study group, but anyway, that's enough. Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that all. We'll do all of that. But let me let you go. I'm gonna play the music.
Beautiful. Thank you, guys. Beautiful night.
Thank you, Queen.
This was great. I appreciated everything. Much love to the chat.
Yeah.
Shouts out to Latoya, man. You gave me more information about what I was playing than I even knew about. That's what a real build is supposed to be. Remember back in the 5% days, they'd be like, we were having a build.
Yeah, build. Ciphers and build. Yeah.
This was a real cipher up in here. A real cipher. We're not arguing about it.
You mean this isn't? Wait a minute. I'm sorry, Queen. I don't mean to. You mean this isn't a build?
He can go down that route. I'll take him right into.
That's not the same. That ain't no.
That's called egotistical mess.
Kind of try to get an answer.
I'm trying to get the part where
back to that thing and say, well, if you want to respond,
here it is. I'm just kidding. We know it's not a build. It's crazy. Like every time I would tune in, it'd be screaming, and then when I tune in this time, it's like, oh, we're peaceful. They probably ran out of steam with their
right.
They be yelling the whole night.
So all right,
blood
great.
Pressure high, cortisol levels all up, and stuff like that.
You know what?
All right, ladies, I gotta go.
Okay. But you know what? Let me tell you, my blood pressure. I said, I'm not having a stroke for these Negroes up here. I'm serious. My head was hurting one day. I said, oh God, I saw a vein popping out of my forehead.
Well, that's how you know. Like, let it go. You can't force somebody. If somebody wants to be in the black and white box with Mary, let their ass stay in there. You can't get them out.
No,
not right. Until they're ready.
And with that said, you know, this is, by the way, this is Lady Queen of, oh my God, I'm so tired. Apu Nation, Lady Kier and her husband Devin. I'm gonna leave you with this one right here, y'all. Ready? You know this is my favorite. Peace.
Peace.
We did it again, man. HOK, Field Marshal, you know? Atheism. None of them can but a dance on the top. Revelation, take the top. Violate the general. End up in a blood clot funeral home. Anchor the AK, Jabari got the chrome. Equirus the how we sending them home. Regina the alley with a Cuban and a galley. Send you back on Nile Valley with a shot in a your toe intellectually. How click the link if your scholarship sloppy. More if your smile make you cry with the truth. No lie, my youth, him a real historian. 21 gun salute for commission. Not a brother, a hustle, a move like all left on the black woman, not all like Ulls and the Yana past sister freedom. I don't hold panel, no one time for Bible thumping. The minute them see me come, revelation set. Frontier the trendsetter. None of them can mother than Sonetta. None of them can mother than Sonetta. Them got a podcast but saw better.
Yeah. Coast to coast we be banging. Bringing all this knowledge we be slanging. In the H&K we don't do no entertaining.
Speak the truth, speak the facts.
What the niggas just a layman. Better get on one accord. The future can be yours. Ancestors push you more. We gotta go explore the sciences and math. The future's based on class. You bout to catch my wrath. We turning up this track.
In the dark minds of the light.
The dark heart still fight. We gotta make this right. Talk right now. We learn how to stand up and stand proud. No man down. We fam now. House of the conscious, my clan now.
Frontier the trendsetter. None of them can mother than Sonetta. None of them can mother than Sonetta. Them got a podcast but saw better.
When I look at you niggas, I see what I'm not. Go take him, a little bit of her, mix it with them, I put him in a pot. You still can't get none like me. It might sound the same, but it's unlikely. One white tee, if I lift it up, you niggas gonna see what it come might be. I thought I told ya. Affirmation, revelation, we some soldiers. Sonetta put this team together, now it's over. We got the weight of the world up on my shoulder. When you get conscious information, hearts turn colder. Now look at these strappers who rapping the same, so stuck in their lane, systemically, chemically. I'm thinking something is wrong with their brain. As long as they paid and flying the chain, I got nothing to say. They in love with the gang. I traded my gang for change, and now that I changed, a few things still say the same.
Frontier the trendsetter. None of them can mother than Sonetta. None of them can mother than Sonetta. Them got a podcast but saw better.